Hi guys, welcome back to Nairobi Legal. In today's video, we're going to be talking about cyber law and privacy in the Kenyan context. As a student trying to understand cyber law in Kenya, these are the key sources of cyber law within the Republic of Kenya. So you can consider downloading the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act number 5 of 2018. It's a fairly new act. Then also you can consider having a look at the Kenya Information Communication Act Cap 411. So these are some of the sources of cyber law that we have in Kenya currently. Now, as far as this video is concerned, by the end you must be in the position to understand what is cyberbullying. Remember, this is bullying that takes place over the internet. Then we are going to discuss about revenge porn, and what we mean here is that an ex-lover sharing your sexual videos or anything you consider private that you might have taken while you were still in that relationship. Then we are going to talk about how we lose our privacy and the penalties for cyberbullying and revenge porn according to the Kenyan laws we have currently. When it comes to privacy in a digital world, the internet has created a leeway through which the government, employers, businesses, and even other invisible audiences can find out more than they should about you and your habits, your beliefs, and your health, meaning that we live in times whereby someone can know so much about you even before they meet you. And so having a discussion on privacy is even more important than ever before. Now, as you can see from your screen, this video will focus on privacy in cyberspace, including the specific laws that we have in Kenya that address these issues of the internet. And we are going to also talk about other laws that have been adapted within the Republic of Kenya to address these emerging issues of the internet. When it comes to social media, the ability to share our opinions, relationship status, and location on social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram has completely transformed the concept of privacy and sharing. Now, we need to know that unlike in the physical world, whereby if you needed to tell something to someone, you then go to their physical location, in that case, privacy was even much more stronger. But we live in times whereby privacy is no longer actually taken seriously. But up to this point in time, I need us also to understand as students that oversharing carries a lot of consequences. However, many victims of social media privacy breaches are entirely blameless. Remember that we can have situations whereby your information is collected and shared without your knowledge or consent. Meaning that in as much as we share information about ourselves willingly over the internet, there are also circumstances where this information is collected without our knowledge and consent, and it is shared. And at its extreme, people have also used social media to harass, bully, exert revenge on their victims. And so I want us to be able to understand what constitutes revenge porn. If someone is trying to victimize you, maybe your ex-lover is sharing your sexual videos or pictures that you had while you were together to simply make you feel guilty, embarrass you, or force you to come back to them, then that constitutes revenge porn. So the overall objective is for us to understand what legal issues arise in the Kenyan context and what penalties are there if actually someone subjects you to cyberbullying, revenge porn, and so many things that occur over the internet. And just to further explain what we just shared in the previous slide, sometimes we voluntarily give up our privacy without considering the consequences, and in other cases, it is taken away from us without our knowledge or consent. To further explain revenge porn that we briefly talked about in the previous slide, what we mean here is that sexually explicit images or videos of a person are posted on the internet, typically by a former sexual partner, without consent of the subject, in order to cause them distress and embarrassment. Now, this is mostly done by a former sexual partner, and it could be blackmail or making you feel bad or just harming you in the public. And so you can find a former boyfriend or girlfriend actually sharing these sex videos that were taken intimately during the course of the relationship, and now the person is revenging and making someone feel extremely bad about themselves, maybe forcing them to get back into a relationship by actually sharing these videos that harm a partner. And so remember that as far as revenge porn is concerned, Kenya does not have laws that specifically deal with revenge porn. But however, we have various provisions of the law that may be relied on by persons who have been aggrieved by revenge porn, meaning that much as we don't have laws that specifically deal with revenge porn, there's still an alternative of various provisions of law that may be applied by persons who are facing this challenge. And I'm sure you've had people suffer from this challenge over the internet. Now, just like I said, one may have an alternative to sue for defamation depending on the context of the images and videos that have been shared. And one thing you need to appreciate is that defamation protects against repetition of an individual. Remember that these videos could be maybe going to affect your reputation in society, and so you can sue under defamation. And if you want to understand the elements of defamation and what defamation means in the Kenyan context, I've done a whole video on defamation. Please consider watching that video. And so bringing you back to this point I'm trying to emphasize, Article 33, 3 of the Constitutions provide that in exercise of the right to freedom of expression, every person shall respect the rights and reputation of others. And so much as a former sexual partner is maybe exercising the freedom of expression, that should be done with respect to the rights and reputation of the other person. Now, again, when it comes to revenge porn, another person could have the alternative of suing for breach of privacy. Remember, we are discussing sections of law that regulate or protect privacy online. So one may sue for privacy under Article 31 of the Constitution. Remember that each one of us has the right to privacy protected, meaning that no one can actually just go to publish your information without your consent. So this is the other alternative. As far as a revenge porn is concerned, you could take the route of a breach of privacy. And the other alternative is that if the person who has been involved in this scenario of revenge porn is a minor, then in this case we have the Sexual Offences Act coming into play. And specifically when you look at section 11(1) of the Sexual Offences Act, it provides that any person who commits an indecent act with a child is guilty of an offence of committing an indecent act with a child and is liable upon conviction to imprisonment for a term not less than 10 years. So should revenge porn happen, in the context of a minor, in this case that person will be imprisoned for a period of not less than 10 years. And remember, what we mean by an indecent act is that it means an unlawful intentional act which causes exposure or display of a pornographic material to any person against his or her will. So this is the definition of an indecent act. So if this pornographic stuff, videos or material is actually being is that of a child, if you're sharing this pornographic material that involves a minor, then in that case you will actually be liable, and upon conviction you will not have less than 10 years in jail. When it comes to cyberbullying, this is a terrible thing you can ever do to a person. And cyberbullying takes place over the digital devices such as phones, computers. It can be through a text, it can be through online social media on Facebook, where people can view, participate in and share content. Remember, this is not easy for everyone. This is terrible because some people go to an extent of committing suicide. And just to break it further for you, cyberbullying includes sending posts, sharing negative, harmful, mean content about someone, causing them embarrassment and humiliation in public. Remember that not everyone takes it lightly. Most people commit suicide. Others just ignore it and move on. And as far as the Kenyan laws are concerned, some cyberbullying crosses the line into harmful or rather unlawful or criminal behavior that is punishable according to the laws that we have in Kenya. According to Section 27 of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act 2008, this is the act we have in Kenya addressing cybercrimes. If a person, either individually or in a group, go out to communicate, to hurt, to harm someone, and they do it willingly, and knowing that their conduct is going to actually cause fear or violence in the life of their victim, then these people commit an offense called cyber harassment. And remember that upon conviction, you cannot pay a fine exceeding 20 million. It's an expensive crime. If you're involved in this crime of humiliating people, remember not everyone takes humiliation the same way. Some people commit suicide while others choose to simply ignore that humiliation. And so you'll pay a fine of 20 million or you're going to be jailed for term not exceeding 10 years or both. So as you post those things about someone, as you comment on them to make them feel embarrassed over the internet, remember we have a law in Kenya that you will be held liable for this kind of behavior. And also, if you are a victim of cyberbullying, remember that you can also get an order from court that compels that person who is actually embarrassing you online to stop engaging in such kind of behavior. And also remember that this person can be told by the court never to actually comment about you, by you getting an order of the court restraining such a person. And so we need to understand that cyberbullying is really terrible. It's really bad. If you've taken off time to search about cyberbullying in Kenya, you'll be shocked at how many people have lost their lives because of this internet bullying that looks funny at times, yet people commit suicide in the background. And so in the next video, I want us to talk about data mining and the various criminal activities in the cyberspace as far as the laws we have in Kenya are concerned. If you're new here, remember to subscribe. Thank you.